Yo, what's going on, guys? It's me, Jay. Welcome back. It's been a while. Big news in the world of professional wrestling, the return of AJ Lee. Last night on SmackDown, AJ Lee returned to the WWE. This was huge. Of course, we all knew what was going to happen. We guessed it, most of us anyway, from the angle that they were doing, which was involving CM Punk and Becky Lynch. If you saw Clash in Paris a couple of Sundays ago, you saw the Fatal Four Way match. Damien got on here and he referenced it. The Fatal Four Way match with Seth Rollins, LA Knight, um, involving Seth Rollins and LA Knight, CM Punk, right? And a mysterious masked man came and hit a masked person, I should say, came and hit CM Punk in the balls, and that was Becky Lynch. And Becky Lynch joined the Vision. So now the Vision is four people: Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, five people: Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, and Becky Lynch. And Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins kissed, and you know, the next night on Raw, CM Punk comes out. He cuts a promo on Becky Lynch. And what does Becky Lynch do? She goats him. She smacks him across the face. She headbutts him with her head in his chest. But CM Punk, being the baby face that he is, will not bring himself to hit a woman. So what does he do? Friday Night SmackDown. He says to Becky Lynch, they come out again, Becky Lynch and Rollins. They come out again and they say, and CM Punk says, I will not hit a woman, Becky. I'm not that kind of person. But luckily for me, I have somebody who will. And out comes CM Punk's wife, AJ Lee, returning to the WWE after 10 years of being gone. She left the WWE in 2015. And honestly, she's back like she never left, boy. You know what I mean? Like, she's skipping around. She came out to her music, light it up. You know, it felt like it was 2011, 2012 all over again, right? Uh, that's how good it felt. She comes out, she tackles Becky Lynch, she starts punching Becky Lynch, right? And she's back to crazy being her superpower once again. And you can see, first of all, this was Chicago. SmackDown took place in Chicago, and the place went crazy for AJ. And obviously this sets up the match at WrestlePalooza, the co-main event at WrestlePalooza. Honestly, I'm gonna stream WrestlePalooza. I'm not gonna buy the app. If it doesn't come with the Disney bundle, forget it. I'm not buying it. I'll stream it somewhere. But anyway, I hope that this this match closes the show, because as much as people want to see John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, the fact that AJ Lee is back in the WWE after 10 years of being gone is a bigger story to me than Brock Lesnar's return, who was only gone for like 3 years. Uh, in my opinion. So AJ Lee, she looks like she hasn't aged at all. You know what I mean? So obviously, this is going to be the first time ever in WWE history a mixed tag team match between one guy and his wife and another guy and his wife. You know what I mean? They should bring the dog Larry to be the special guest referee, and should bring Seth Rollins and Becky's daughter to be the guest ring announcer. Yeah. You know, but wow. Mm. David says AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Yes, David. Many people didn't see this. I don't know if they showed this because I wasn't watching SmackDown as it aired. I watched the clips later. But Becky skedaddled out of there. Like Seth had her on his shoulder and he carried her out of there. She skedaddled out of there. And she left the Intercontinental Championship there, and AJ picked it up, and AJ was holding it, and AJ and Punk actually took the belt back. So David's onto something. After this mixed tag match at WrestlePalooza, um, this isn't a one-off either. It was reported that AJ signed a multi-year deal with WWE, so she's back for good. So we can imagine the possibilities. Her working with Rhea, her working with Alexa Bliss, her working with Liv Morgan when Liv Morgan comes back, right? Her working with all these other divas. All these other, excuse me, not divas, women's wrestlers. Seeing her again reminds me of that word diva. They don't use it anymore. They used to, back in her day. But seeing her come back is like, man, the possibilities. The women's roster is so much better now than it was when she was, when she was on top. Back when she was on top, only her and Paige were the only two good women wrestlers, on the roster back then. Now you have a bunch of women. Bianca Belair, Naomi when she comes back out of pregnancy, Jade Cargill, all these other women that AJ could work with. Now, fitting AJ's body type and height type will be the types like Liv Morgan or Alexa Bliss, that she could work with. It just, the possibilities are endless. Charlotte. Now, the one person missing now that she's in AEW, this was my dream match was AJ Lee versus Sasha. And unfortunately, that won't happen because Sasha's in AEW now. But that was my dream match. And, maybe it will happen somewhere down the road. But as of now, no. But AJ Lee, man, that's if you could have seen this. You know what I mean? You would have loved this. Because back in the day when we went to WrestleMania, I had a CM Punk sign, and my fiance had the AJ Lee sign, right? In 2013. So we were huge fans of AJ back then because you got to remember, guys, David likes to talk about the era of the Trish Stratuses and the Litas and all that. And that was a great era for women's wrestling. But after that, after those girls retired, that Divas era, where the Divas, where it was like Candice Michelle, fucking Caitlyn, fucking Natalia, the Bellas, that era was terrible for women's wrestling. And AJ Lee was the only woman on the roster at that time that was even fucking worth a damn, in the early 2010s. And on my birthday in 2012, August 26, 2012, AJ Lee cut one of the best promos that I ever heard from a female talent up to that point. When she cut that semi-pipe brown promo on on the Bellas and the Funkadactyls and Natalia. She goes, I didn't get by because they had a famous name, and I didn't suck up to the right to the right people to get where I'm going. To get where I've been. So she dropped the female version of the pipe bomb. And don't forget, guys, it was her who started the what would become the women's revolution, because she was the one who responded to Stephanie McMahon. After Stephanie McMahon praised Patricia Arquette's speech at the Oscars that year, AJ Lee got on there, and AJ Lee informed us that the women aren't treated, they don't get the same equal pay as the men, and that basically started a firestorm in the Give Divas a Chance revolution. Now, a couple of months ago, there was talk that Saraya, aka Paige, might also be returning to the WWE, leaving AEW and going back to the WWE. Now, her and AJ Lee have history. Who can forget the Raw after WrestleMania 30 in 2014 when Paige defeated her for the Divas Championship? So that's a possibility. That might happen. But it was a great, epic return. A lot of fans thought they would never see AJ back in the WWE or back in wrestling at all, because for years she had disavowed it. She had said that she was done with wrestling. I have her book, Crazy is My Superpower. I always enjoyed her work. AJ, welcome back, AJ. They got me almost one to watch WrestlePalooza, and then also on that SmackDown, Brock Lesnar attacked John Cena and said you'll see him at WrestlePalooza. You know what I mean? So that match is set. And by the way, speaking of that Divas era, Nikki Bella came back, obviously, and she had a match with Becky Lynch at Clash of Paris, and that match was terrible. It reminded me of how AJ Lee used to always get on the Bellas, back in that Divas era. Remember? Talent isn't sexually transmitted. Man, it's so good to see AJ back in the company, man. I missed her so much. She has abs now. She has abs. And she was skipping, man. It was like a flashback, man. It was like a flashback. She was a shining light in a dark era in not just women's wrestling at that time, but the early 2010s, guys, was the shit for wrestling in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the men's wrestling back then was terrible. Now, some would say, okay, she was overrated. We never saw really what AJ could do with talent that was capable. Like I said, the women that she was working with in her era were subpar. The Funkadactyls, Naomi was in the Funkadactyls, but Naomi has gotten better. But anyway, over the years, since the Funkadactyl days. But Eva Marie, that was the Eva Marie era too. Speaking of heel work, great heel work. Man, Becky Lynch is the one really getting this angle over. Becky Lynch has a lot of heat, because with Seth Rollins, okay, he's not a great promo, and because of his theme song, the fans kind of like him, so he comes out and the fans sing his theme song. With Becky Lynch, man, she has true heat. What she said about Ozzy Osbourne in Birmingham, and then how she was getting on the Chicago crowd at SmackDown, that was crazy. But anyway, guys, we got to see what's going to happen at WrestlePalooza. What other matches are they going to get? So far, they've got two big ones. I don't know what AEW could come with that could counter that. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, this will be the first time that AEW and WWE go head-to-head, two big shows, one from WWE and one from AEW. And WWE is coming out with firing on all cylinders. I don't think any time in wrestling history other than 1987, between Starrcade 87 and the first Survivor Series, have pay-per-view from one promotion going head-to-head on the same day as another promotion. You know, that didn't even occur in the Monday Night Wars era. So, you know, we got to see. But so far, I'm loving AJ back in the company, man, guys. Thank you, David, for contributing. Peace. Love you guys.